Hello, everyone. I'm Meredith, and welcome to Conversations with Friends. We're about to have a very interesting conversation on this show, and I've been thinking about what we're going to be talking about and how it all started for my guest. And I want to start with one thing: is have you ever had a dream and it was so powerful and so strong that you actually, as a result, when you woke up or much later, you decided you were going to do something, and you were going to do something that really had to do with your heart and wanting to help and wanting to do good in the world? Well, I'd like to think that that's happened to me, but it hasn't. I mean, it's in different ways. I never had a dream and then actually acted upon it. I've had thoughts and acted upon it. So I don't know if you're with me, just being someone that and never exactly did what we're going to be talking about today at all. But I want you to meet Kirsy Espejo. And Kirsy has actually, like I said, she's acted upon her dream. And what's happened is what's come is just a wonderful organization, a nonprofit organization where she is out to help lots of people in need. And I'm not going to say much more than that because you're going to meet her right now. Kirsy, good to meet you, or good to see you. We've met, but not in person here, or could we say on Zoom? So I'm really delighted to have you here. And I don't think that I said the name of your organization that you founded. I didn't. It's Kind Wholeness. I was going to say wellness, because we're going to be talking about wellness and wholeness together in this program. So hello, how are you doing, Kirsy?
Thank you. I am thrilled to be with you and your community. And I do have to say that, yes, this was a dream, but I think you are acting on your dream as well, because what you're doing is also impacting humanity as a whole. So don't, cut yourself short there. I think we're
Oh my,
both
see,
on a
she's a coach
mission.
to everyone. I love
Yes.
it. I love it. Well, Kirsy, I think definitely when I heard about you, and I'm going to hold something up. Actually, I read about you before I heard about you. Well, actually, someone handed me a flyer. Can you see it right now? And that flyer I put in my folder of people I would love to interview, and thought about it and thought about it. And then all of a sudden I said, it's time. It's time to interview and to meet this amazing person. And that's how it started. And so we were talking about the importance of flyers or anything on email or social media. You never know who's out there and is interested in connecting with you. So I'm thrilled for you to be here. Kirsy, I want to know how it all started, because I mean, was it just completely a dream? And in the dream it said, you will do this? Or was it a dream where you said, God, I got to make some changes in my life. Things aren't going the way I want them to go.
Yeah. I think for me, it's always been there. And I remember growing up in the Caribbean. I was
Mhm.
born in the Dominican Republic. I was raised by my grandparents. And my grandfather will say to me, "You're pretty special. You're going to do something." Um, Look, I'm getting like a little bit, chills, because I'm in my 40s now. And you think back, and it was like, it was always there. And even when I was in elementary school as a 10-year-old, I used to teach catechism in the Dominican Republic. I used to
Mm.
have like my little flock of kids, 6, 5 years old, teaching them about the Bible and just good things. So I've always had this divine, which we all have, by the way. It's just that some of us don't tap into it, or we limit ourselves, but everyone has some good in it. So for me, it's always been there.
Mhm.
I think through the traumas, through the challenges, through my life experience, it just prepared me to do this at another level, right? But I've always been giving and serving in a certain capacity, right? Even within my corporate jobs, I wasn't just your typical leader, right? I
Yeah.
always go above and beyond to help individuals, right? And their professional and personal just life. So
So
it's
you were
always
here to
been,
serve, really. You were here
yeah.
to serve. And luckily, you had a grandfather, right?
And a
That
grandma.
and a grandma. Sorry, grandma. that saw that in you, and maybe that was just dormant for so many years, or a little bit later, and little by little you got to that, and then you went into finance and business and all of that, and is that when it started, where you just needed, there was a feeling like, I need to do something to help the world or help the community, and that's what we're going to talk about. What is your doing
Yeah.
to help?
So it didn't have a name when I was in, helping individuals in the
Yeah.
financial sector, right? It didn't
Uh-huh.
have a name, but I know I was impacting people. I know I was doing that. And
Uh-huh.
then I met Dr. Shafali Sabari. That was when my daughter was 3 years old. And
Mhm.
everything that I was researching and wanting, Dr. Shafali had a name for it, the conscious parent movement,
Mm.
right?
Mhm. Mhm.
And then when I saw her on TV, it was like, oh, this thing has a name. I'm not crazy, right?
Yeah.
So there's something going on, right? As far as the parenting, because I took parenting very seriously, by the way, just like everything else. I'm type A. If I'm going to do something, I'm going to give it 1,000. So I began to research on how to be a better parent, which that led to a better individual to help others to be a better human being. So then I continued to study this mindfulness approach. I follow Eckhart Tolle, Deepak Chopra, just to name a few, right? But it just kind of all came together. So I continued to work on myself, my evolution, right? So that then I can help. So it started me being a parent coach. But of course, well-being or this thing that we're doing is a holistic approach. You cannot do one thing without the other. This is why Kind Wholeness is so special, because we don't focus on one thing. We focus on the 4 pillars, which we're going to talk
So
about.
let's talk about those 4 pillars, because I know those are very important to you, working on the 4 pillars, as well as how you go about this now, because you've been doing this now for a bit of time, not that long, but enough time to really become well known and respected for the work that you're doing.
Yeah.
So tell
So
me.
I've been doing this for a while now, but under
Yeah.
Kind Wholeness, it's now going to be 2 years.
Mm.
But the 4 pillars are the emotional well-being,
Mhm.
the social well-being, the mental well-being, and the physical well-being. And we believe that one cannot be without the other. You've heard this, right? Like
Mm.
you get individuals, oh, I'm going to follow a diet. And a diet, which we use that word in the wrong way in our culture, right? A
Yeah.
diet puts a beginning and an end versus a lifestyle, right? Okay,
Mhm.
so now you're working on nutrition. But what about your social wellness? Does
Mhm.
that mean that you don't talk to people? You just focus on that one thing, right? And what about the mindfulness, right? So that is why the 4 pillars are so important.
Do you think most people today, I mean, there is definitely a movement towards, you know, being conscious and wanting to be a whole person, and not just and have a piece of us missing. But I'm not so sure. There's definitely a movement, and I believe change is happening. But I also see, and I read some things that you've written and talked about, that there's right now a lot of suffering and a lot of fear. So that we would not consider being whole, or being able to really deal with life in the way that we should be dealing with life, right? There's a lot of stress today, isn't there? And that's what you're
Yeah.
speaking to with your project, with your work.
Yes, and it's funny, that's big. And fear comes from lack of love, because when you don't practice self-love,
Hmm.
then you start to limit yourself. Oh, I
Hmm.
can't do this because I'm not good enough. I'm not going to try this. I'm afraid that it's not going to work. It stems from that fear of lack. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
I'm thinking, I'm just getting personal here. I'm thinking myself is like, I have days where I'm feeling really good, like everything is going the way I want it to go. And then there are those moments where you say, is this going to work? Is this the not right path? Because our we're part of the Brahma Kumaris, we're students and teachers. And so we do believe in something, a higher, a deeper purpose, and that we're here to do good in the world and help ourselves. But there are those moments, right, where people have whoever, whatever path you're on, or if you're not on a path, where you do have those doubts about certain things. And so now you, with your project and your work, that's, I noticed from what I've been reading, is all over the community, where you're working with different organizations and different people. And how do you address that in the workshops that you do?
Yeah, so since we have the 4 pillars,
Okay,
everything is around that,
it
right?
is, yeah.
So when you talk about the emotional well-being, which
Mhm.
is building resilience, self-awareness, and setting boundaries, that's just one part. But one way that we infuse the social well-being, which is through volunteer work, because
Okay,
a lot of times we feel stressed because we're only seeing what's in front of us, but the volunteer work allows you to feel a sense of purpose. Okay, I may not be doing good at work or with my family, but let me go and volunteer so that I can give back, so that I can feel better about myself. So now when I go back to work or my family dynamics, I have another perspective. You see how it's connected?
sure, sure.
1000% connected, right? So when we do our workshops, depending on what we're tailoring that workshop, because we go to schools, it's another project that we're very passionate about to impact the next generation. We go to the school system, we go into employers, right? That they get us, hey, come and talk to our employees about work-life balance. So we infuse our 4 pillars into all of the workshops that we do, right?
So you offer, I would say, an array of different types of workshops, different types of, different people have different needs. I mean,
That's
you were
right.
talking about the finance world, the world of finance, financial world. I would think that they're like under tremendous pressure, you know,
Yes.
and the world of finance is moving so quickly now and is very competitive. And so when you come to them, I mean, you have to kind of almost, just give them a sense of, again, your topic, well-being, that it's going to be
Yes.
all right, right? Because it's scary, for people in business or anywhere. Healthcare is, education today, they're all kind of, you know, having problems, and it does have to all do with the emotions, doesn't it? And the inner.
1000%. Because if your mind is not right, it's
Mhm.
really difficult
Mhm.
to tackle everything else. It's all perspective, right? You
Yeah.
can go outside and say, oh my God, it's raining, it's the end of the day. My
Mhm.
day is going to be ruined.
Mhm.
Or you can look at the rain and say, oh, thank you for the rain. Let me just get my umbrella. You see that? I cannot control the rain, but I can control the fact that I can purchase an umbrella or borrow it, right? You see the perspective?
Yes, I do. I do. And it's a matter of that shift,
It's that
So
shift.
you're really, what is it, like almost training the brain to think differently.
Yes. Yes. I want to
People
talk
aren't like
about,
though,
I,
I mean, they want to be, because I mean, when I talk to you, they say, well, it sounds good, the kinds of things you're all into, but I have these problems and I'm dealing with this situation and that. And
well,
it's
a lot of it,
hard for people to make that shift
that
into a
shift.
different
You're
way of
absolutely
thinking,
right.
right? It's a different way of thinking.
Yes. And that's where we come in into that one-on-one coaching session, right? To
Mhm.
help you peel those layers of uncertainty, right? Where is it coming from? A lot of it is from our upbringing, believe it or not. I
Mhm.
am afraid to start something new because I've been told since I was little that I'm not good enough, right? That I'm too crazy to try that, right?
Well, I'm still getting over the fact that I was, how old when I was sixth grade, when the music teacher said, "Oh, your voice is bad." I still, I think I need therapy for that one, especially that. No, I'm kidding. But,
You understand? But this is
and that
what's
I never
happening.
could sing in front of people after she said that in front of the whole group. And that was, like it affected me. And it took time before I could say, okay, I'm with a group. I'm not in any choir or anything like that, but let me just sing. And so people all have had maybe, often we've had somebody in our life that, like you were saying, gives us a feeling of insecurity and that we're not good enough in something.
But let's talk
Right.
about that for a moment, because
Yeah.
there's always going to be that, right? Someone
Right.
that's going to put you down, someone that's going to belittle you, insult you, whatever it is. That's
Mhm.
life. But we have a choice. In your case, you chose to take that negative comment and you
Yeah.
turned it around. All of us have a choice, right? Some
Mhm.
of us have been molested, raped, homeless, you name it. But we
Mhm.
have a choice to either sit with that story or turn it around.
Mhm.
I've been homeless at some parts of my life, right?
Mhm.
When I was in high school,
Uh-huh.
upstate New York in Syracuse,
Oh.
right? So that's
Mhm.
part of my life experience. It's not my story anymore, right? I was
Mhm.
also molested, you know, and that's something that now I can talk about this so that I can help other individuals. You see? So it doesn't have to stay in that stage in your life. You can come out of it if you choose to. That is the key. If you choose to. I think that's what life is about. There's always going to be problems, bills to pay, issues, drama, dilemmas, but it's how we choose to cope.
It's a whole different way of living. And I think that once you get that, it's almost like a wake up call. And you go, I can change. There's still a lot of people stuck though, right? And I was wondering, that's why people go for therapy, right? They go for psychology, they go for, all kinds of things. And is that enough for people? I feel like you're doing something a bit different, in these, I don't know, when you say group meetings, group gatherings, is it different where people can share their own, kind of like, I'm going to say it, like AA, where people come together and, Alcoholics Anonymous, and they come together and they share, which can be a very healing kind of thing, from people that I've known that have been involved with things like that. That's very healing to be with others who have been in the same boat.
Yeah, no, it all depends, right? So for instance, when we go to the schools and we talk to teachers, right, which we have
Right.
a series of time management and wellness, it depends on the audience. The principal said, hey, I want you to come back and do sessions in a smaller groups, right? 20 to 30 people. And
Yeah.
that allows them to share. Absolutely. We don't record these sessions, it's very private, but it allows individuals to share, like you said, and it gives a sense of freedom, a sense of community. It's a safe space. Now, when we go into, let's say, another business, let's say a car dealership or any other businesses, it all
Yeah.
depends because some men are taught, hey, you're not supposed to share your feelings, right? But we make it fun, interactive, so that they can share as well. And kind wholeness, just to go back to the setting so that people understand, it's really and let me make sure I explain it correctly, right? We are a nonprofit organization dedicated to making well-being education accessible to all. So it's not like you have to sign up or do a commitment. It's just that, hey, I may not have the money to get a therapist, or I'm not ready to get a coach or get some help. But at least Kind Wholeness gives you an opportunity to one, learn, because we're always sending wellness tips on Instagram and
Mm.
YouTube channels, etc. So there's that outlet, right? Then you have the volunteer part. Hey, you get to meet new people, you get to connect again. You're becoming part of something bigger than your 9 to 5 job, than the problems that you're focusing on. So Kind Wholeness is a community just to help the human as a collective, accessible.
There is nothing like coming together with others and sharing that experience, even if you don't share maybe the toughest moments that you've had in your life. Now, how do you follow? I don't want to say follow through with this, because let's say they come to a workshop. I noticed you have one coming up. I mean, you have lots of them. How do they continue it? Like, how do they, like you said, you send things, and because something has to continue in order to change, I think. One time is a
1,000%.
wake up call, right? And then after that, you need to pursue it.
That's right. But in order for this to work, this shift, like you
Right.
said, the first step is the awareness. Okay, I have a problem. The second step is to seek help. And this is where people get stuck because
Mhm.
we are taught that asking for help is a sign of weakness.
Sure.
right?
Sure.
We're trying to change that mindset. Asking for help is a sign of strength. It's okay to build a community. It's okay to ask for help. Like I have a community full of what is this? Babysitters, right? Sitters. I have two
Uh-huh.
kids, so I ask for help to be able to be present in all the different activities that I'm passionate about. But for Kind Wholeness, because there's no contract or a commitment, it's really up to that individual, right? If you're coming in as an individual, you are the one that have to continue. I mean, the resources are there, but as you know, we cannot call anybody and say, hey, can you make it? Or we cannot, right? However, when we work with schools, we do have like series, right?
Okay.
But that's the program for that school as an example. When we
So there's
work for
follow-up
businesses,
at a school because you have, kind of, some kind of a you're working together with the school
that is
to put
correct.
programs on, and that's very helpful because
Oh, yes. And
you
then
can't
for the
in one day,
businesses,
you can't, I mean, you can wake up, you can awaken people in one day.
yeah,
Um,
that's all we can do.
sure.
Hope that they can wake up. But when it comes to the businesses, I just want to add, it's the same way. When the corporations reaches out to us, we
Mhm.
present a series of workshops, right? To
Yeah.
your point, as the employees participate,
Mhm.
some get enlightened. Hey, I want more, and then they seek more, right? Because the student has to be ready.
And then the teacher appears, right? Is that
That's
how it
right.
goes? The teacher appears first and then the student gets ready. I'm finding that there is a big wake up that's happening in this society. I can't say for the whole world, but I can maybe speak for Miami because I've lived here for so long, grew up here and everything. And when I started, on this path toward kind of self-discovery, right? A long time ago, so many years ago, I used to say to my teacher who runs the center now, or will more people come? Will more people really come? Because I didn't know people into these things.
Yeah.
And the people that I worked with thought I was weird at first. Though we eventually, before I did leave WLRN, we had a regular meditation once a week. And I will never forget a person that said, I said, why don't you come? It was lunchtime. And they said, oh, because I have to go out for lunch. And I said, you have to have an hour for lunch, or I think you were allowed an hour, maybe it was less, I don't know. But and just, yes, I need my lunch. And I thought, well, you know what? This person who I thought was ready was not ready because lunch came first. But you can sort of eat lunch. I can eat lunch. I'm a quick eater, 5 minutes and get my class in, at the same time. But people often, I think maybe my point is people will often have excuses, right? They
That
have no
is
time
correct.
to do this.
That is
Saturday
correct.
comes, I know you have programs on Saturdays for parents, right? And also children at the same
Yes.
time, or are they going
So
on
for
Saturday?
the children is the one with the schools that the school,
Is the
has.
schools,
Like
the
we do
children?
one that is called emotional intelligence. And that
Mm-hmm.
is so
Mm-hmm.
very dear to me
Yeah.
because as you know, I have two kids, as I mentioned, and yes, you can
Mm.
teach them how to read and write, which is
Yeah.
important. But
Urgent, right?
also, how do they learn and cope with different emotions, right?
What do you say? That's true. What do you say to children today that are seeing the horrors of the world? It's no longer like you can keep it quiet. These kids are seeing maybe even more than we are, right? And how do you just say to them, don't worry about it. I mean, we're living in a lot of ways, let's face it, a frightening world, right? And I was wondering, what is it that you can say to young people? Because I know I didn't grow up with this kind of a world, and we have our teachings, our spiritual teachings, I know for me with the Brahma Kumaris that have helped me immensely, and enable me to still be optimistic and but not, and not get depressed.
Yeah.
How do you reach young people when they see what's happening?
Yeah, this is a whole different recording, but
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
say this because I have two kids,
Right,
14
right.
and 11,
So they see it, right?
and
I
they
mean,
see it and I can no longer shelter them, right? So it is out there, but
yeah,
for a very long time and being with what I practice, And with their father at the time, I made a conscious decision to do things differently. And my children did not have a gadget for a very long time until this day.
Really?
It's again the setting healthy boundaries, which is a workshop that we do for parents. Very special workshop as well. Setting healthy boundaries the conscious way, utilizing the some of the methods of Dr. Shafali Sabari. But what do I say to my kids right now? Depending on the age group, is the world is rough out there.
Yeah.
What you have, is your insight, right? You know right from wrong. And I'm talking to my kids. This is the way I talk to them. And I start with, I'm very proud of you. You are maturing so beautifully. Continue, continue to always, use your heart. You know right from wrong. And I give examples now because they're older and we role play a lot. So if someone gives you a cigarette or a beverage and you don't know, what can you do? What can you say? So I encourage parents to role play and don't assume that the kid knows what to do. Really, depending on the age group, be very honest, because kindness is being honest. It's not sugarcoating, right?
And not hiding things from your children.
No,
Like they're not, they know what's going on. So you can't
correct.
get a secret.
Yes. So when I talk to my children, it's very honest conversation. And they laugh, Mom. No. Tell me. What questions do you have? Right? Any feedback? So I treat them as I want to be treated. But again, it's a different mindset than the way we were parents, right? So
Well,
it starts
different
with a
world.
different mindset.
It is a different world. And yet, in this tough world, there is also this awakening, as we were saying earlier, where more people. I mean, when I started, I didn't know people that were meditating. I mean, there were people that were meditating or studying spirituality or getting together and, these kinds of gatherings. And now, you could go anywhere and you see signs even all over, yoga, but not just physical yoga, but they also have classes and spiritual because we're talking about spiritual things, aren't we? Really, without maybe even, you don't use the word necessarily, but you're getting across spiritual ideas.
Yeah. And that's part of the four pillars, right? Just to center yourself, whether you pray, meditate, whatever you want to call it, just practice that in your day to day. And as a collective, like you said, there is a level of awakening in our society. There is. And that's how we are going to cope and handle all the different wars and craziness and technology. It's by us as a collective sticking together and honor our divinity. Because a robot cannot show empathy, right? A robot cannot show love, and I love technology, but there has to be a boundary. And the only way we can overcome the craziness or how to tackle the two or marry the two, it's really as a collective, practicing what we're talking about, self-love, being kind, being present for each other and the communities that we serve.
Beautifully said. You are a very empowering person and very powerful, and in the best sense, in that I'm sure when people hear what you have to say, and you have other teachers too, that they get it. They're gonna respond to you, right? So I was reading that you have volunteers. What do the volunteers do? And you're open to having people volunteer. So I thought maybe you could share a little bit about that.
Absolutely. So again, it's a nonprofit organization. So
Right.
we're always seeking for volunteers to help content, social media, to help with setting up events, right? Just things like that, creating content, setting up events, just being present, sharing this mission. That's volunteering.
That's true. That's true. Is just being on that same wavelength is such a beautiful thing. What's coming to mind to me is a movie that I saw like a zillion years ago. I think it was a Mel Gibson movie, and it was like the world had ended or something. There was some kind of a nuclear thing that happened, not a thing, like a horror, and the world didn't end forever, but there was a group of people that were kind of had separated themselves, and they had a garden, and they were helping each other with all of this love and kind of peace, a sense of peace, and like life went on for them. And I wasn't then practicing anything spiritual, but I said in my heart, I want to be like these people. I mean, they looked so peaceful, and they kept going, and they didn't go through the suffering, and they bonded. And again, the importance of others, being able to be with others in these times, people that are on the same wavelength, not people that are kind of fighting you and don't agree with what you're saying. You need those people, don't you?
Yeah. And it's twofold too, because as you know, this message is not for everyone, right? So our job is
Right.
not to judge, it's not to pressure,
Not,
it's really
no,
to welcome them when they're ready,
yeah,
right? Because
right.
just as they're looking at us, we're crazy, we're also thinking they're crazy. So you see, there's that disconnect and that division. But
Uh,
love is what brings us together. So
yeah.
without judgment and resentment, that's how we bring people together.
And that's what you're all about. And I'm just really I'm thrilled to be able to be here to interview you. And I'm so glad that I held on to this flyer that someone gave me, Terry from the meditation center. She went to something, and I held on. I put it in my folder of people that I would love to meet. And here you are, a long time later. Again, Kind Wholeness, empowering wellness for a healthier generation. And it's for all generations, isn't it? You said it's for the parents, maybe even the grandparents, the children, teachers. Everybody needs to be empowered these days, right? I mean, we all need more, and we need more. We can't stop and think, oh, we're good. We're good now. You really have to keep going. And then life becomes very sweet, doesn't it? In spite of the difficulties in the world that we might face or whatever, we can still choose, can't we?
That's right.
Happiness over suffering, right?
Yeah.
Yes, so we are out of time. It's such a pleasure to get to interview you, and just being around you, I can see how people get very uplifted, and they don't have to feel like in sorrow or feel that they can't handle things in life, that whatever comes in front of you, you can deal with, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So
I'm
thank you
very
so
glad.
much.
Oh,
What
thank you
you
so
want
much.
to, yeah, it's a pleasure. And I just have to say, your enthusiasm and your commitment to something. And maybe we can all go back and have some dreams like you did and say, okay, maybe I'll do something new. Maybe, I'm doing what I like. I'm happy with my life and with for me personally, my spiritual life and everything. But there's always more, so maybe we can focus on how about some good dreams, happy dreams.
Yeah. And
And
thank
it's
you
not,
for what you do, because you're also impacting people's lives. So thank you.
yeah, well, I can't imagine any other way. I really can't. Because I feel we have a choice, suffering
Yes.
or living with joy, and knowing that maybe we're not saving the world, but we're part of a group of people in the world, all of us, if we're, involved in anything to do with these kinds of things, then we're part of something that's, I think that can gives us so much hope and so much security and a feeling that we are all connected. We're all brothers and sisters. That's it. That's the bottom line. It's such a pleasure to get to interview you. And I want to maybe mention your organization again, Kind Wholeness. Again, empowering wellness for a healthier generation. And if anybody is interested in contacting you, they just look it up, right? Kindwholeness.com.
.com. Yes.
Beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful. Thanks so much. I know you're very busy. It was even hard to get an interview with you because you've got so many activities going on. Continued success with all that
Thank
you
you.
do.
You as well. Thank you, Meredith.
And I thank you for watching. And I also want to thank Mary Ann Weiss, our technical director on this program. And we have a team at the Brahma Kumaris, and they all do this out of love. And nobody gets paid with the Brahma Kumaris. That's, just how we work it. And but people do, of course, need to be able to be paid and to do the work, that they're doing, and you're doing amazing work. So thank you so much for joining me.